Donald J. Trump. The name itself evokes a whirlwind of emotions. To some, he was a brash outsider, a disruptor who defied the Washington establishment. To others, he was a beacon of hope, a man who promised to restore American greatness. Love him or hate him, one thing is undeniable. Donald Trump's presidency was anything but ordinary. Trump's journey to the White House was nothing short of remarkable. A billionaire businessman with no prior political experience, he descended the golden escalator of Trump Tower and vowed to shake up the status quo. He promised to make America great again, a slogan that resonated deeply with millions of Americans who felt left behind by the political elite. His campaign rallies were legendary, filled with passionate supporters drawn to his message of economic nationalism and American strength. He spoke directly to the concerns of working-class Americans, promising to bring back jobs, secure the border, and put America first. The media mocked him, the establishment underestimated him, but the American people heard his message loud and clear. On a historic night in November 2016, Donald J. Trump defied the polls and pundits to become the 45th President of the United States. It was a victory for the ages, a testament to the power of the people's voice. Donald Trump came to Washington as a businessman, not a politician. He promised to bring his deal-making skills to the Oval Office, and that's exactly what he did. His economic policies, often met with fierce opposition from the left, ushered in a period of unprecedented economic growth and prosperity. Trump's signature achievement was the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act of 2017, a sweeping piece of legislation that slashed taxes for businesses and individuals alike. This bold move, derided by Democrats as a giveaway to the rich, unleashed a wave of economic activity, boosting investment, creating jobs, and putting more money in the pockets of hardworking Americans. But Trump didn't stop there. He went on to roll back countless job-killing regulations, freeing up American businesses to compete and thrive on the global stage. He understood that excessive government bureaucracy was strangling the American economy, and he was determined to unleash the full potential of American entrepreneurship. The results spoke for themselves. Under Trump's leadership, the unemployment rate plummeted to historic lows, wages rose, and the stock market soared to record highs. For the first time in decades, working-class Americans felt a sense of optimism about the future. In the realm of foreign policy, Donald Trump charted a new course for America, one guided by his America First philosophy. He understood that America's foreign policy should always serve its own national interests, not the interests of global institutions or foreign powers. Trump took a hard line on trade, confronting China's unfair trade practices and renegotiating trade deals that he believed were detrimental to American workers. He imposed tariffs on Chinese goods, forcing Beijing to the negotiating table and ultimately securing a historic trade deal that promised to protect American jobs and intellectual property. In the Middle East, Trump broke with decades of failed foreign policy orthodoxy. He recognized Jerusalem as the capital of Israel, moved the U.S. embassy there, and brokered historic peace deals between Israel and several Arab states, including the United Arab Emirates and Bahrain. Perhaps most remarkably, Trump engaged in direct diplomacy with North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un, holding 2 historic summits in an effort to denuclearize the Korean peninsula. While North Korea's nuclear program remained a challenge, Trump's willingness to engage directly with America's adversaries was a stark departure from the policies of his predecessors. Donald Trump's impact on the American judiciary will be felt for generations to come. He appointed 3 conservative justices to the Supreme Court, Neil Gorsuch, Brett Kavanaugh, and Amy Coney Barrett, cementing a conservative majority on the nation's highest court. These appointments were a victory for those who believe in a strict interpretation of the Constitution, limited government, and the sanctity of life. Trump's Supreme Court picks were not just about ideology, however. He also prioritized appointing judges with a proven track record of upholding the rule of law and respecting the Constitution. Beyond the Supreme Court, Trump appointed hundreds of conservative judges to federal courts across the country, ensuring that his judicial legacy would extend far beyond his presidency. These appointments will shape the interpretation of American law for decades to come. Section 5, Fortress America, Securing the Nation. Donald Trump made securing America's borders a cornerstone of his presidency. He understood that a sovereign nation must control its own borders, and he vowed to stop illegal immigration and protect American communities from the scourge of drug trafficking and human smuggling. Trump authorized the construction of a wall along the U.S.-Mexico border, a move that drew fierce opposition from Democrats and the mainstream media. He also implemented a zero-tolerance policy for illegal crossings, which resulted in the separation of some families at the border, a policy that sparked controversy, but which Trump argued was necessary to deter illegal immigration. In addition to border security, Trump made criminal justice reform a priority. He signed into law the First Step Act, a bipartisan bill that aimed to reduce recidivism rates and provide opportunities for rehabilitation for nonviolent offenders. This landmark legislation was hailed by both conservatives and liberals as a step in the right direction. Section 6. A voice for the forgotten men and women. Donald Trump's presidency was marked by a deep connection with working-class Americans, particularly those in the Rust Belt and other parts of the country that had felt ignored by the political establishment. He spoke directly to their concerns about jobs, immigration, and the decline of American manufacturing. Trump's rallies were legendary, drawing tens of thousands of supporters who were eager to hear his message of hope and change. He promised to bring back jobs, rebuild America's infrastructure, and stand up for the little guy. His supporters saw him as a man of the people, someone who understood their struggles and who would fight for them. Trump's populist appeal transcended traditional political divides. He drew support from Democrats, independents, and even some who had never voted before. His message resonated with those who felt left behind by globalization, abandoned by the political elite, and ignored by the mainstream media. Section 7. The media's war on Trump. From the moment he descended the escalator at Trump Tower, Donald Trump was met with a level of hostility from the mainstream media that was unprecedented in modern American history. The media, long accustomed to dictating the terms of political discourse, viewed Trump as a threat to their power and influence. Throughout his presidency, Trump was subjected to a relentless barrage of negative coverage, much of it based on anonymous sources and unsubstantiated allegations. The media seized upon every opportunity to portray him in a negative light, often ignoring his accomplishments and amplifying his every misstep. The Russia collusion hoax, a fabricated scandal that consumed the first 2 years of Trump's presidency, was perhaps the most egregious example of the media's bias against him. Despite the lack of any evidence, major news outlets repeatedly asserted that Trump had colluded with the Russian government to win the 2016 election. The Mueller investigation ultimately found no evidence to support these claims, but the damage had already been done. The media's relentless negativity towards Trump had a profound impact on the American public. It sowed division, eroded trust in institutions, and created an atmosphere of constant chaos and negativity. Section 8. The fight for the soul of America. Donald Trump's presidency exposed a deep and growing divide in American society, a divide that went far beyond traditional political differences. It was a battle between those who believed in American exceptionalism, individual liberty, and limited government, and those who embraced a more globalist worldview, identity politics, and the expansion of government power. Trump's supporters saw him as a defender of traditional American values, someone who would stand up for the flag, protect religious liberty, and fight against political correctness. His detractors viewed him as a threat to democracy, a racist, a sexist, and a demagogue. The battle lines were drawn on a range of issues, from immigration and trade to gun control and abortion. The two sides seemed to occupy different realities, each with their own set of facts and their own interpretation of events. Civil discourse broke down, replaced by shouting matches on cable news and angry tirades on social media. Section 9. A legacy of strength and prosperity. Donald J. Trump's presidency was a time of great upheaval and change. He challenged the status quo, disrupted the political establishment, and gave voice to millions of Americans who felt ignored and forgotten. His presidency was marked by both remarkable achievements and bitter controversies, leaving an indelible mark on American history. Trump's supporters point to his economic accomplishments, his foreign policy successes, and his appointment of conservative judges as evidence of his legacy of strength and prosperity. They argue that he made America safer, stronger, and more respected on the world stage. His detractors counter that he divided the nation, damaged America's standing in the world, and eroded democratic norms. They argue that his presidency was a cautionary tale about the dangers of populism and the fragility of American democracy. Only time will tell how history will ultimately judge Donald J. Trump. But one thing is certain, his presidency was a pivotal moment in American history, one that will continue to be debated and analyzed for generations to come.